I'm going to switch this up now.
Okay.
Switch gears.
Switch the gears.
Gosh, I can hardly contain myself as I write this testimony about what happened to me. My entire body is starting to tingle and go
Doesn't
numb.
seem like you're switching gears.
No, it's switching gears.
When is it? Gear.
You'll see. As I relive this wonderful, wild fucking again in my memory, he's right. I've been extremely horny ever since our camping trip. I know he does not believe me, but obviously you would have had to have it happen to you to believe it.
Sure.
So yada, yada, yada. It's camping season, and she's out with her boyfriend, and they're camping.
Gotcha. Okay.
I was awoke in the middle of the night. My bladder was reminding me to go find the restroom.
It's a strange way of saying you have to go pee. But, yeah.
Bladder is reminded me.
bladder's
like
reminding me
filthy
again.
assistant. My assistant's all filled with shit and piss.
Bladder's like on the phone. Don't forget to remind her we've got to pee.
James was sleeping soundly, like always, so I didn't bother to wake him up. It was a warm evening and a full moon. So I went out in my nightgown and flip-flops, and I could see something with the moonlight. I had nothing on underneath since I took off my bra and my panties before going to bed. I found the flashlight and eventually found the restroom at the center of the campground, and I just sat down on the stool and put my flashlight on the floor when I heard a noise.
Wait, she's camping and she's sleeping naked?
And just your panties and her bra.
I sleep naked no matter what.
Camping?
Yeah.
No, the bears will attack. You can't sleep naked while camping.
Only if you've got periods coming out of you, or you scratched your butthole on a pine cone like maybe you and Carolina in your forest adventures might have done. My first thought was that I was sure the door had closed fully behind me and latched, thus locking behind me. As I sat there peeing, the doorknob turned, and the door opened slightly. At this point, I was done peeing, but I was sitting there scared of my wits that a bear or a raccoon or a camper was coming in.
There's a big difference between a bear or a raccoon.
Yeah.
I'm much less scared of the raccoon.
And a human.
Yeah.
I'm actually more scared of a raccoon than a bear because of their diseases.
Oh, stop it. They're nice and they're fun.
Now, this is the part where James does not believe me. In walked in the biggest, hairiest, what looked to be a man that I have ever seen, and from what I could see with my dimming flashlight, he was at least 7 feet tall and fully covered with hair from head to toe. He kept sniffing the air like a dog on a scent. He was grunting something at me, and before I could let out a scream, he lunged forward and grabbed me up off the toilet. His two hair-covered hands completely enclosed around my waist. My face was pressed into his hairy chest, and as I was screaming bloody murder into his smelly hair, my screams were muted. As he rushed me out the door, I noticed from the corner of my eye a woman standing there with her flashlight. Her face lit up just enough that I noticed the astonished look on her face as my kidnapper carried me off into the thick forest.
Is this Yeti smut?
Now, from what
I do not want to listen.
I switched it up. Now, from what I could make of it as he leapt and bound, the thing carried me over the next ridge and down to the rocky ravine. The scent of this thing has been described in books by Bigfoot hunters as a pungent, stinky odor, but to me it was more like an attractant or sort of alluring masculine pheromone scent. As he carried me without much effort, my fear subsided and I actually felt safe in the strong man's arms. It was just a strange sense and perhaps an ancient instinct playing on my mind, like a caveman had taken me.
It's a Sasquatch.
He brought me to my hole in the rock. He brought me to a hole in the rock.
It sounds a lot more like a skunk ape.
That was an
whatever it
entrance
is.
to a hidden cave. And speaking of hidden caves, he laid me on a soft pile of women's clothing. There was just enough moonlight coming in from a hole in the ceiling that I could see him pretty good. It seemed obvious that the scenario had been repeated over time.
It's a tale as old as time.
It seemed obvious that this scenario had been repeated over time, and some other women had left some of their clothing behind. My nightgown had ridden up to my waist, and my private area was exposed to his gaze. I quickly closed my legs to limit his view. He grunted and kept sniffing the air. I started to worry when I noticed what looked like the large head of his penis, resembling the underside of a big red apple. He then put one hand up my knees, and he pushed them apart. And in the air, I could feel the air swirling around my pussy.
Yeah, in the air tonight, huh? It's like a Genesis song.
Thighs. I immediately began to tingle all over my entire body and down to my toes.
Is this
I just thought of this big hairy man smelling my pussy was all that I could take. My pussy became super wet.
I don't want to hear about it.
Running down the crack of my ass.
And there's a Yeti Yeti involved. I mean,
And
this is too
jealous.
much.
The crack was like, imagine his extra large rock hard cock and what it might look like buried to the hilt in me.
What's her boyfriend doing? He's just sleeping while a Yeti wins over his girlfriend.
I guess hopefully this camping trip will reinvigorate our relationship. Meanwhile, she's been turned into a circus tent.
Oh my God!
You don't want to hear more of it? There's several pages of it.
More of it? I didn't want to hear any of it.
They're very long.
How many pages are there? I mean,
As he was done sniffing between my legs, I
Oh
quickly
my
moved
God.
her over to pushing my nightgown higher above my breasts. His hairy
We'll just
body
take it off at that point. I mean, what's
brushed my hardening nipples. His
All right,
penis
I
was
think
protruding
we're
more
good.
now.
Good
We're good.
Lord.
We're fine. Hardening nipples.
hardening, not quite hard yet. They're hardening. Oh wow. Well, now is that real erotica? There, no people.
Yeah.
they're
Yeah, of
into
course
that
it's real
stuff.
erotica.
Look at that.
You throw a butt and a dick into it, then yeah, it's erotica.
Wow.
Hell yeah, dog.
Wet pussy.
Wet.
You learned-
Wet
pussy.
I
It is
did not know
dripping
that.
wet, my pussy.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
His penis actually did a U-turn
my
inside
God.
of me.
Can
I
we-
reached inside his hair to
How
his
does a
ass
penis
and
do a
squeezed his
U-turn?
structure. Look, you just have to get to this one bit because I love this. His cock had locked into me and it only moved an inch at a time in and out. I was so filled up and it was so tight in me that his humping was pushing my entire body back and forth on a pile of clothes. It was absolutely fucking credible. I wrapped my legs around him tightly as I was fucking his massive,
this still the
barely fitting
Yeti?
cock as best as I could. He tensed and hardened, and I could feel him harden as his shaft pulsed. But because his cock was in a U shape inside of me, the head of his cock was pointed out at the entrance of my slit, and when he came, it drenched him. He had come all over
my
himself and all in his hair.
The ultimate practical joke.
Wow.
Wow. So wow.
Candy cane in them. That's what's called pulling a
Oh, that's
candy
the
cane.
candy cane. I didn't realize the penis could U-turn like some sort of magic
Wait,
bullet.
so the penis U-turned, so it was just pretty much a folded penis inside
of her, and then
But-
it came all
and then
over
it came
himself.
but that
all over
still
him.
seemed to work for the. This is a Sasquatch,
Ah.
correct?
Yes.
So Sasquatch did a U-turn.
His cock came all the way out, that big red apple size of his fucking head. And it was the only thing that ever satisfied that girl, ever again. And then James just sat.
Sleeping away. All right, scary stuff here.
So is that how a Sasquatch reproduces somehow? Is that how Sasquatch always has sex, or is that just like specific to that Sasquatch?
I
might
am
have to
not a
amend our
fucking
big-
scientist.
Yeah.
I'm not a scientist, all right? I am an erotic fan.
We'll have to amend our Bigfoot episode. We'll have to put a little addendum in there.